Tell me about the Gorman front. You weren't there very long.
Don't get involved.
That's your assessment, just like that? 2 days in, you barely looked around.
How do you know what I did?
We heard it didn't go very well.
Oh, you heard? Really? I only left this morning.
Well, they sent word. They're very prompt, the Gormans.
But they are impatient. They started too late. Now they're rushing.
That's awfully definitive.
They're not ready, Luthen.
I think they know that. That's why we sent you.
The Empire is building an armory in the center of town. They say it's a new complex office, but everyone knows the truth. There's nothing to be done about it now. And the more trouble they make, the worse it will be.
There's always something to be done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They have a plan. They want to hijack an Imperial transport to prove something that everybody already knows is true. Who's gonna care about it?
The Empire will care about it.
Exactly. In a place where they know nothing about fighting, they'll be crushed.
They're finally wanting to do something. You tell them to be careful.
It doesn't matter to you, does it?
It doesn't matter. Gorman in play. A new front line against the Empire? The chance for that's a triumph. You're thinking small, you're thinking like a thief.
I'm thinking like a soldier.
Think like a leader. Think about a planet like Gorman in rebellion. A planet of wealth and status.
If it goes up in flames?
It will burn. Very brightly.
I'm gonna watch me some Andor and podcast with Candor about this Star Wars show on Disney Plus. This is the second season, but it also is the last one. And Disney pulled the fast one, putting out 3 episodes at once. Yes, I am watching Andor and talking with Candor. It's what the Mandalorian man's for. That is my podcast show. This is the second season, but it also is the last one. It should lead right up to Rogue One, and we all know how that goes. This is a podcast on Andor called Andor with Candor, about that Star Wars show on Disney Plus. This is the second season, but it also is the last one. It should lead right up to Rogue One, and we all know how that goes.
Oh, what a festive evening. Oh, what a festive day. Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to The Mandalorian Man Presents Andor with Candor. Yes, I said that I was going to get caught up for last Tuesday's triple, this, like, when you watch 3 movies in a row, what do they call that? A triple, main event? No, that would be like in wrestling. Triple feature. Yeah, because when I grew up, WLVI in Boston used to have Creature Double Feature, where you could watch, a Godzilla movie and another Godzilla movie. So that's what I was going for. And I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to take any of that out. I'm not going to start over. This is a triple feature. This is what Andor is. It's a triple feature every week. And let me get back to what I was actually saying is I thought I was going to get episode 6 done in time for 7, 8, 9. I didn't. Obviously, I didn't. You can tell that right now because this episode didn't come out till today, May 10th. But today is a very special day because I am getting completely caught up on Andor today. So we're doing 6. We finished that trilogy. Now I'm assuming we're jumping ahead another year. I don't know yet. I haven't started 7 yet, but it's going to be 7, 8, 9, all all being recorded today. Now, they might not come out till the 11th. I'm not sure. But I'm going to try to get as many of these recordings done, edited, and out to you, the world, the mass, public, I don't want to say the number because it's embarrassing how many of you there are. It's like, wow, there's so many of you listening that, it's going to be great to get all these episodes out to you. And I'm excited because Andor was in this episode. Now, of course, he's in every episode, but he feels like, at least in this one, he felt like a supporting character at best. It's like the show's title is Andor, and he kind of does stuff, but the interesting stuff is what the other people are doing around him. This finished off the storyline of Luthen and his partner, woman, who I can't remember her name, going to have to get that listening device out from the one of the pieces that Luthen sold the guy with the beautiful head of hair. Clea. Look, I'm not going to lie. I went to IMDb really quick because I was like, I got to know some of these names. Like, I got to remember there's Clea, and then there's Vel, and then there's Cinta. And there. Now I have all the names in my head, and I will remember them forever, except, of course, one of them you don't have to remember all that much longer after today. So the storyline finishes Luthen and Clea. See what I did there? I remembered. I didn't just look at my screen again. Going to get that listening device. And that was cut in between the Gorham front working with Luthen's crew to pull off a heist. Now, Andor left Gorham, and he's like, we shouldn't do this. They're not ready. They're not prepared. This isn't happening. And Luthen's like, oh, yeah, they're doing it, and I don't care what you say. You should have stayed. You should be helping them. This is at least what I got out of it. I could be wrong. That I literally just watched it, and I could be like, wait. It seems like, oh, no, because Andor's like, how did you know this? How did you know that? Because obviously Luthen has plan B there waiting for him, and that was Vel, and Vel meeting up with Cinta. And I was right. I remembered they had a relationship in the previous season, back many, many moons ago. So they were able to meet up together, see each other again, reconnect, have a nice, intimate moment together. And then, of course, it all ended in tragedy, which... Did Vel blame the right person? I'm not sure about that. So it's funny, like, I watch these episodes and there's a lot going on, but it really boils down like to a simple summary. Vel, who I just realized is Mon Mothma's cousin, right? Because she asked about her cousin. Obviously he's talking about Vel, and Vel was at the wedding, so it all makes sense. And I'm sure you all knew that already. Everyone's supposed to know that. I didn't know it. But Vel is already there on Gorham. Cinta's already there on Gorham. And they're working together to actually help them go through with the heist that they're stealing, something in space. I don't know. Something from the Empire. Now, the Empire knows this is going down, and they're going to allow it to happen. In fact, Cyril is reporting back to Dedra and, Space General Man, everything that's going on. And they wait, they let them be successful, and then they call in the troops just to let them know, that I guess that also gives the realistic thing, like, how do we get away with this without anything happening, especially with shots fired? But this whole thing was the Empire letting them get the win so they feel more confident so that they get to something more. Because really what it all comes down to is they just want civil unrest in Gorham, right? So that they could swoop in and steal those minerals, I think, right? Right? I believe so. So Cyril's watching them do this. Val and Cinta are working with the Space French. I think they're speaking space French. They definitely have space French accents, and they're stealing a heist. They're pulling off a heist. Now, obviously, there's some young people there. Some of them are a little impatient. Some of them are they're all unexperienced. And Vel's like, you listen to me. You do as you say, or you do as you're told. You don't say anything. You just listen and you do the plan exactly. And that didn't work out all that well because all the plan worked out. And Cyril's reporting everything back to Dedra and Spaceman. And then, of course, someone wanders up. An old lady wanders up. They like, you can go away. You don't have to worry about it. Then this dude wanders up. Now, he was at the meeting. I remember him from the Gorman front at the meeting. He goes up. He's like, what's going on here? And they're like, go away, old man. This is not for you. And he's like, no, I want to know what's going on. And there's a tussle between this burly fella and the young, unexperienced rebel boy. And the kid pulls a gun on him. And instead of just being like, all right, I'm sorry, I shall go back to my house. He's like, I'm going to fight you. And I don't know why I turned British there. And they started tussling, and the shot gets fired, and it goes and it kills Cinta. Now, then the big guy's like, I'll carry her back. I'd be like, you son of a bee, you're the reason she's dead. Yes, this kid should not have pulled the gun. Yes, this kid should not have been willy-nilly just for some guy who's wandering up. Let him wander up. What's the worst that can happen? He shouldn't have pulled the gun. But that guy is also to blame for fighting the guy with the gun and causing all this to happen and tussling with a gun. The guy's got a blaster in his hand. What do you think is going to happen? Nothing good. Of course, one shot randomly goes off. We don't see it hit anyone. Then we see Cinta's dead. I thought Vel, after that, was excellent on the way back. She's like, you're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to feel, look at me. You wear this forever. This is on your skin. This is with you forever. I actually really enjoyed her sad reaction. I thought that was good. At the same time that's going on, we see Mon Mothma, and I want to call her husband John Mothma just because it sounds funny. So Mon and John have to go to all these events. All these events within the next couple days, or it seemed like they were doing it all in one day. I don't know. Looked like they went to a meeting, a Senate meeting, where Mon Mothma's there. I swear that's the same place where the Emperor was yelling, and we saw the ETs back in the one of the original trilogy. Not the original trilogy. I'm sorry. I apologize. Back in the prequel trilogy. Please do not hold that against me. I will never misspeak like that again. I'm actually I'm getting chills because I just called that the original trilogy. Ooh, the prequel trilogy in the timeline chronologically first. I don't know who was there. He was up there talking about for the love of the Empire, and Mon Mothma's like, yeah. But then she goes to the next thing, which is a party with that dude with the wonderful hair, who I think is now their in-laws for each other. They are Luthen's there, and I almost said Kira. Kyrie? Isn't that the Mr. song? Kyrie, I am the road that I must travel. It's Clea. And she has to do all the dirty work while Luthen's walking around. I'm just going to walk around and be Luthen, and I'm going to do this with a raspy voice. And he's just kind of, mingling while she gets one of the dudes from the Empire who actually works for Luthen, he's a spy, to go and help her steal the listening device. Now, I mean, don't you like listening devices where it's a little magnet? You go, bloop, you stick it in and you pull it out and it's nothing. Apparently, they screwed this thing in so hard that to get it out, they had to hold this table, which is also a book, and she was bleeding. Now, I thought maybe they'd look down and see a little drop of blood. We didn't see that, but who we did see in that room was Orson Krennic. He's back, and anytime he can be on the screen, I like it. Him and Mon Mothma having these arguments back and forth about this battle that happened at one point, and I love that he's like, one person's rebel is another one's terrorist, and I was like, interesting, because that's what they look at the rebels as terrorists, even though they're rebelling against the evil Empire. So that was a lot of you get a lot of history. I love hearing the idea of the history of, this was from old Republic or something. This is from back then. Like Luthen had this ring on that's ancient, and I do like the fact that we, for the most part, or really for everything live action, we've been in a certain timeline. We've had a time span of, 50, 60 years, right? I mean, think about, we have Amidala. We started with Amidala to the kids being born, to then we flash forward to another, say 20 years or so, to Princess Leia as a young lady. And then we flash forward another 30 years to, Princess Leia as an older lady. That's those 3 trilogies. And we have one show. Actually, no, we go. No, I'm sorry. I'm so silly. Obi-Wan obviously takes place after Revenge of the Sith. So we've really just touched the time span of that 50, 60 year kind of span, I think. Before the Return of the Jedi, after the original trilogy, during this, blah, 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 blah. But we've never gone ancient, which I think they call the Old Republic, the Knights of the Old Republic, and all that stuff. So that is interesting, and I love the fact that there is this world that was expanded upon by authors for decades, and then of course Disney's like, nope, not all of that. You can put that over there, but here's the real new timeline, which I don't buy. It's all story. It's all story to me. So I've read books that are not quote unquote canon anymore. I don't care, but I do love all that stuff. So that's what Luthen. I like when they talk about the history of this piece and that piece, and but really that whole moment is just to build up the tension for Clea to get the listening device out, which she did. Meanwhile, Andor does nothing. We don't see him doing anything. Now, he gets back to his house, and Bix seems like fine. She seems good. Okay, I'm sorry. Andor did not do nothing. There was something. So Bix is feeling fine. I think it's because she got her fix. I think they say when users use a drug, they call it their fix because it literally fixes them and makes them feel better. Not only, this is completely like my impression, but I'm not even sure if I'm right. Not just getting high, but feeling normal and healthy. And when you stop doing that and you go through withdrawals, you start to feel sick. Then you become reliant on it, and that's the habit forming. I think I have that right. So that's why, we see her kind of, staring off into space at one point, like looking out of it after she takes the medicine, after she takes the drug, the drops, whatever it is that she says she only uses to help to sleep. But we do also see her being productive as well, because she cleaned up her whole house. She was up moving about, and I think it is related to the drug too, but I could be completely wrong. But Andrew's like, this looks great. And they're kissing and happy. And he's like, well, I realized when Luthen came by that this place was a mess. He's like, Luthen came here? And he's like, why would he come here? I just spent time with him. He didn't mention it to me. Why would he come here? She's like, he wanted to check with me about a mission. He wanted you to go on a mission. You're supposed to be resting. You're supposed to be doing better. You're supposed to be, getting a clear head, resting, whatever it is. And he's like, he knows you're not supposed to bother you. She goes, well, he did. And why didn't he tell me? He's like, maybe he wants us to have this argument right now, because he said, excuse me, I'm yawning even though it's early in the morning. He said he doesn't do anything without a reason. So maybe that was the reason. But Andor ends up going back to Luthen's shop and knocking on the door late at night. And Luthen's like, what are you doing here? You're ruining the whole thing. This is part of the deal. Oh, they did have a good conversation on the ship too, where he's like, you told me kill me or bring me in. I brought you in. This is how it's done. So he kind of gave him this ultimatum of, when Andor said, these people aren't ready, they're going to get destroyed. And that was my favorite line of the whole thing. It was, he says, and what happens if they burn it all to the ground? He's like, it will burn brightly, which was, I think, an incredible line. Because what I got out of that was that, it might burn and they might die, but that sacrifice will illuminate the rest of the world and the rest of the universe, and the rebellion will look at that and be like, that cannot happen again. We must stand up. That's the shine brightly thing that I got out of this. And it's like Luthen's ability and his ability, not ability, but his, I guess it's ability. He will allow tragedy to happen. He will not stand in the way of something like this. If something bad happens, he will accept it. Acceptance, maybe that's it. His acceptance of, well, if that happens, it'll still help the cause. There are sacrifices that need to happen. That's how in-depth is that. This old life, we turn that away. That life is gone. So when Andor shows up at the shop, he's like, you're risking everything just for being here. If anyone ever asks you, you're here to return this for me. Thank you very much for returning this to me. He's like, why did you go to Bix? You shouldn't have done that. He was getting all upset. But I guess this is what I wasn't sure about, was that I guess they had a plan. Now, I'm wondering if they had a plan. I'm going to say they didn't. I'm going to say that this happened without Luthen's knowledge because it was pretty brazen. So they're pissed at Luthen, and, Bix has been really stressed out about this doctor guy. Dr. Gost. We did see that Space General Man told the two younger fellas that they like Dr. Gorst. Dr. Sayus. So they like Dr. Gorst's thing. It seems to work good, and they actually want to implement that plan throughout. Now, is that something we see later with questioning Han Solo, right? Am I crazy? Am I crazy in remembering that? Or am I just completely connecting things that aren't quite there? So, one guy's like, this is an honor. He's like, oh, they want him to go to this party. I don't know why they want him to go to the party, but they're basically there to babysit people. But they're also talking about pushing this Gorst agenda more, making it more like a normal thing they do, part of their protocol. So at the very end, we see this guy walking into his shop, and he's, just another day of work, another day of torture. And all of a sudden, Bix is there. Bix straps him into this machine and leaves him to be tortured. And she says, it'll feel like forever, which I think is the same thing he must have said to her when he tortured her. Didn't he come to, and they set up a torture shop in their old planet when they did the rebellion? Look how good I am at this. So now she's getting the revenge on that. She leaves that thing going. Obviously, he's not tortured that long, because on the way out, this guy's like, hey there, what you doing? And she goes, bam, shoot you, you're dead. And you think, oh my God, she's on her own. She's getting revenge on her own. Andor's not going to oh, there's Andor. He's right there. Andor's with her. So I think, and this is I could be completely wrong, but this is them working rogue. This is one rogue thing they've done. And Luthen's going to be pissed about this, but Andor cares more about Bix than he does about Luthen, personally, obviously. And he's going to support the love of his life. And they walk out. They walk out together. Andor's like, press button, Q, walk away from explosion. Boom, there's an explosion in the background. So they took some sort of Imperial thing out, including Gorst, and they did it brazenly. They didn't care who saw them. They're working together. I'm going to guess that Luthen didn't know about this, and I could be completely wrong. I could be like, this is what Luthen wanted you for, and now they're working together. He's supporting her with Luthen's plan. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's my favorite thing about this. I watch this, I hit record, and I'm like, wait a second. I don't remember what just happened. But I think I summarized everything that went on here. So with Andor, he is back with Luthen. He does not think that Gorham's ready for the plan. He does not like that he does not like that Luthen is still pushing forward with this. He goes back and sees Bix. He does not like that Luthen met with Bix. He confronts Luthen about it, and Luthen, yells at him. And then at the end, he and Bix go and blow up the doctor, the good doctor, and they blow up whoever else is at work at that time. That's what happened there. Luthen, meanwhile, goes with, Clea to the party. They get the listening device, but we get to see Mon Mothma. We get to see Orson Krennic. So that was some fun back and forth between them. Meanwhile, Vel and Cinta are doing the actual dirty work of a heist, which gets Cinta killed. They're working with the Space French, but they think they're stealing from the Empire, even though really Cyril and the Empire are allowing this to happen. Now, one thing that Cyril doesn't know that we know is what this really is all about. He does not know about the taking of the mineral. That's because Space General Man told Dedra, Cyril must never know what is really going on. And she's like, yep, I got it. And she seemed like she didn't love the idea of keeping this from him. I think they actually care for each other. But duty comes first. I mean, look, last week Cyril said that this was the greatest moment of his life, getting high praise from the Space General guy. So obviously they care more about duty and Imperial. I would say duty for country, but it's not duty for country. It's not duty for planet. It's duty for the Empire. They care more about that, I think, than they do their personal lives and their personal relationships. And it's the same thing when you look at the rebellion, where Luthen's like, I'm sorry that you think this, and I'm sorry that you don't think these people are ready, but it's more about the rebellion. That is more important than your individual thoughts, than your individual safety. It's about getting things done. And I think I'm done. I think I covered everything in this episode 6 of Andor. Andor with Candor. What a festive evening. Now for you, I don't know when the next episode's going to come out. They might come out at the exact same time, but for me, I am going to start watching episode 7, Messenger, right now. So I feel like it's going to be 1 year later again. We're going to get 7, 8. Now let me do a little guess of what we're going to get here. So I'm going to guess we're getting 1 year later. It's going to be what? Is it 2 year BBY? And the next one is going to be 1 year BBY. So next week, I should say, the finale, the real finale. So we are, there's going to be some rift between, I don't know, because I'm going on the fact that I think they did this behind Luthen's back, but maybe not. Maybe not. There's going to be a lot more advancement going on in Gorham. Cyril is going to now start questioning what is happening here, and he's going to start asking questions. And there's a part of me there's a human aspect to him that makes me wonder, is he going to be like, but what about all these people? What's going to happen to them? I wonder. And I also wonder, could this element that, this mineral that they're coming for, could it be part of something that we don't know yet, that's like, oh, then that's how they did this in the movies? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be like retconned into something that becomes like, oh, that's why they needed that, or if it's just government overreach, imperial overreach. I don't know. I do not know. But oof, I sure hate an evil empire, don't you? Don't you? Now listen, my friends. I will talk to you as soon as I finish watching this 7th episode. Hopefully you'll hear it soon. And the plan now is to watch 10, 11, and 12 on Tuesday night. That is the plan. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm hoping for. Last Tuesday I had other plans. I couldn't make that work. That is the ideal. I don't know if it's going to happen yet, but that's the plan. So hopefully I can get the episodes out to you Tuesday and Wednesday, so that it's not too far behind, so that it feels like I caught up. But I'm catching up now with 7, 8, and 9 coming to you as soon as possible. I'm definitely watching episode 7 right now, so you'll get to listen to it in the next episode of Andor with Candor. But until then, you can follow me on all the socials at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. The YouTube channel is Fans.Experts. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. That's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. I will talk to you soon. But until then, my friends, may the Force be with you.
Let's go!
Fans Not Experts.